And it can really suck to go and devote yourself and put your energy out on the line for other people. You go and do things for them, acts of service. You take care of them, and it doesn't come back. That energy doesn't ever get restored. You're sitting there at a constant energy deficit because what it means to be a good person is to self-sacrifice, but that's almost always done with this unspoken guarantee that when you're in need, someone can step in and be there. If you're experiencing this energy deficit, I'm going to take you through the 7 chakras, what they are, what they mean, what they represent in your life, and how to recharge them with logic. You don't even need to meditate. This is about a state of mind that will recharge your energy centers. It's not something you need to think about in a super esoteric or ethereal way. You don't need to go buy crystals. Not that those stones don't have validity. They vibrate at a specific frequency. Crystals all vibrate at different frequencies, and we have a magnetic field vibrating at a frequency. And just like if you play certain music, you will calm down. These stones have a similar effect, but we don't need to dive into that to feel that energy return on these energetic investments we keep making. So let me take you through what these chakras are and how to recharge them. These are all going to make logical sense. That's my promise to you in this video. This is not about being super esoteric. This is about something that you can go, oh my word, that actually makes sense and I can use it. And if that's something you're interested in, hearing spirituality and the concepts within that on a practical level, on an applicable level, something you can actually use in your life, then this is the channel to subscribe to, because that is what I do. I take these spiritual concepts, break them down, make them practical, so that you can use them and apply them in your life to start literally changing the way things happen and start manifesting your dreams. So now, coming into the chakras, it's not important whether you think that there's a physical thing there or not. It's irrelevant. This is about its resemblance and how to keep it going. So we look at the root chakra, which is supposedly at the bottom of the spine. It's at the base of your being, and the root chakra is colored red. And just like the rainbow has 7 colors, the chakras follow all of those colors. So that root chakra, the lowest frequency chakra, just like in the rainbow, the red is the lowest frequency light, this root chakra is linked to your basic survival. Okay, so it's a representation of surviving, of being okay, of aliveness. And its fundamental block that we have is fear. Fear blocks the sense of survival that helps you operate at a good frequency, right? So if we don't clear the chakras in order, what happens is we have a reduction in our experience and we lose that energy. That's where energy goes out and never comes back in. Understanding these concepts is what's going to help it solidify and stay with you and be rechargeable all the time. So what we do then to recharge this root chakra, to unblock it, is reasoning with fear. Now, here is where things get a little bit out there, and if you do have questions, leave them in the comment section, because I respond to each and every comment. So if you're confused about something or you want me to clear something up, I will have a personal one-on-one chat with you in the comment section. And that goes to all of you who comment on this video. So the way we unblock it is by letting go of fear. Now that's obviously easier said than done, and we don't always realize to what extent fear lives in our bodies or in our minds or in our experience, but it's shown to us through what we call the ego. That is this human flesh. Everything that is not linked to this human flesh is emotion, and that emotion is our spiritual body. That cannot fear because that is never under threat. Emotions cannot not exist. Like, we can't hurt them out of existence. You get what I'm saying? It's not like they have mortality, is the main message behind that. So this sense of survival and fear, when we get rid of fear, it's to release everything that makes us feel like we need to protect, we need to take care of, that there's consequence. That whole mentality is what we have to let go of, and that helps us unblock our root chakra. This is also the most intense shift into spirituality, letting go of things that we fear. And let me give it to you like this. How many times have you gone, oh, I have to leave for work at this time so that I can get past that traffic because, there's always an accident there and it might be me. And the concept of something bad happening actually starts to choose your behavior for you. That's how you know you're acting out of fear. Even thought. I don't want to think about that in case something bad happens based on a thought. It's like, how could thought bend the world around you? It very well can, but how is that going to happen in a very practical sense with you right now? Fearing speaking about something causing a problem. That is fear. So when we get rid of this fear, that allows us to move up to the very next stage, which is the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is like an orangey color, between an orange and a yellow. If that's interesting to you, I'm just going to be mentioning it. And this is linked to your sense of pleasure. And this will be blocked by shame. So if you have any shame within you, a sense of shame, or you are ashamed of anything, your access to the energy of pleasure is completely blocked. So the way that we get rid of shame is by realizing the sense of imperfection within us. Shame is something assigned to an expectation for perfection. If you are feeling ashamed, what would you be ashamed of? If you've done something really bad, you kind of need to let it go. And the way that this is spoken about, if any of you have Christian backgrounds, I'm just going to mention this point because it's helpful. It speaks about Christ dying daily, Jesus dying daily. And what that's relevant to, and the reason I bring that up, is because we have to die off the identity from yesterday. And you can see, if there's shame, there might be a sense or a fear of it being widely known. And then that's fear again, and that will block both chakras. So you can see how this trickles down into its core. We have to take care of it from that point. So moving into that, letting go of shame, it's to accept, to almost embrace the quirky version of you. I'll tell you a situation I was ashamed of for years. I'm a musician. You can tell by the guitar behind me. This is my recording studio. And I went to go sing at a performance where I'd been asked to be a guest judge. And I went and sang a song I wasn't prepared to sing. And they were like, oh, well, we have to see what the judges are capable of. And I really royally cocked my song up. Like, it was, I really messed it up. And for any singer who does performances, the worst fear came true. And I sort of justified it at the end. I was like, if you, what did I say? It was something like, I promise if you were in hospital with pneumonia, you'd also not sing so great. And I almost announced this to the bar. I mean, it was so cringy, right? The level of shame I felt from that awkward cringe shame was on another level. And that blocked my access to pleasure. And eventually I dealt with that. And I was like, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm human. I'm here living a human experience. And there's a certain element of knowing that everything happens for a reason. And it's always in service of me that allows me to let go of shame. So these spiritual concepts, you're going to see I'm going to mention them as we go. And it's going to build the spiritual picture, but it's also going to help revitalize your energy. So just to recap on those, the spiritual lesson and meaning behind fear is that you're always safe. Your true identity is blocked from ever being in harm's way because your true identity is energy and you cannot destroy energy. So your truth and your you is untouchable. If you have any questions about that, like I said, leave them in the comment section. Then we move to the pleasure center, which is that sense of shame. Knowing that everything happens for a reason helped me realize that was in service of me. It was in service of my greater good. So that is that spiritual concept that helped me release the shame. And then we move up to our solar plexus, which is like a yellowy sort of color. And the solar plexus is linked to your willpower. So the willpower that you possess to go through life, that is blocked by guilt. If you have a will to do something, but you feel you can't do it, there's a guilt element of having not been good before. For example, let's say you want to start a business, but the last time you had a really good idea, everything fell apart. And you feel it's a combination of guilt and shame, really. It's sort of a contrast over here. And you feel this sense of guilt about not being right, or a sense of guilt of not knowing something. And this happened to me when I started my business, and I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing. And when it came into explaining that for clients, I knew I had to be salesy, but that felt inauthentic. And then I was feeling guilty because I'm saying it in a certain way. So it stopped me going out and getting clients. And your willpower in the spiritual realm is linked to a sense of abundance. Now, when it comes to your willpower, when you feel a sense of abundance, that scarcity element, which is linked to guilt, falls away. Knowing that there is an abundance of opportunities to mess up and to make up. There's an abundance of opportunities to be really good and to not be really good. And all of those are okay. Like, you have permission to do all of that because it's all going to be in service of you. So everything that happens is going to serve you in some way. Be prepared to fail. And that will help you let go of guilt. You made mistakes. You are living a human experience, which is temporary. So holding on to this guilt all the way until you finally meet your grave, what's the point? in holding on that guilt? Is that justice? You must suffer. Why are you creating suffering for yourself? And that's the message that comes into this concept. So that's why you got to let go of your guilt to experience the full extent of your true power, your willpower to do things. This will show you your absolute potential. And to do that, like I say, let go of guilt by realizing the universe is abundant with opportunities to mess up or make up. And you don't know which way it's going to go. So act out of purity, act out of that emotion of passion, not outcome. Don't act because of an outcome. And that's one of the biggest shifts I had, stopping waiting for the outcome. Next, we have the heart chakra, which is green in color, obviously placed around your heart. And this heart chakra is linked to love. And it's the bridge between the spiritual realm and the natural realm. So if we look at the first three chakras I spoke about, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, those are earthly experiences, right? Survival, pleasure, and willpower. That's to do things on this earth. The heart is the bridgeway between the two. This is the actual juice that allows those bottom three chakras to be acted upon. It's love. It's the emotional energy that drives us to do anything. Without emotion, we wouldn't pursue or do anything. So our emotions are obviously linked to our heart. There's no mystery there. That's not a mysterious concept. But it's blocked by negative emotion. So we want to be able to trickle the pure good energy of passion, of love, of joy into our experience of willpower, pleasure, and survival. Meaning we want to live great, we want to have fun, we want to experience pleasure, and we want to be able to do what we want to do. And if we have negative emotions and we hold on to negative emotions, we stop ourselves from doing that. And I'm going to give you a really cool example about how this actually works. Your emotions on a scientific level, on a chemical level, are chemical reactions within your body. So the energy or the chemical reaction of anger, right, that emotion of anger, only lasts in your system for up to 90 seconds. That's how long anger exists in you. But if you think about it for a second, you've never only been angry for 90 seconds, for a minute and a half. When you're angry, you're angry. All of us are. And the reason is because we perpetuate the thought and we re-inject this nice little chemical of anger into our body. We don't realize that actually does damage. And I'm going to explain to you how it does damage. The chemical reaction of anger inhibits your immune system for up to 6 hours. This was studied by the Heart Math Institute, I think it's called. Don't get me on the name, I'm not too sure what it is. It's somewhere in the US. I read about it in a book by Kimberly Snyder called The Hidden Power of the Five Hearts, which I'll link up and down and everywhere. So if you want to go check it out, you can go and get that book and read it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But the chemical reaction of anger actually stops your immune system from working. It makes your immune system useless for 6 hours. So if there is a virus that's attacking you and you get angry, that virus will make you ill. That virus will in fact infect you and make you ill. So this is why emotions play such a big part in our life. And this is a more true way of identifying who you are than what you say and what you do. What you feel is more real. So when it comes to this heart chakra that you want to unblock, this is the place where we spend energy we don't actually have. And it's about authenticity. Now, there's another book that I'll mention by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural. And he speaks about the energy, the magnetic field in your body and how far it actually extends out. And they thought like emotions like love would make it go really far, and it does. But the one that absolutely enhances the distance that your magnetic field goes to and how strong it is authenticity. And how would you be authentic to yourself if not for doing it based on your true emotions? Okay, so the inauthentic self is expressed for ego's benefit, to serve that fear I told you about way earlier, that ego, where authenticity is the emotion you're truly feeling and acting upon that. Now, if you are angry, I don't think you should go and smack people in the face. That's not a healthy solution. But to be aware of yourself feeling that anger for someone and processing the emotion, not casting it out, not writing it off. We do this too often where we make our emotions insignificant, and they aren't. They are the most important part about how we experience life, and they impact how great life is for us, because emotions are what we use to manifest. So if you're sitting in irritation, you're asking the universe for that reflection. Your heart chakra is the one controlling your reality, not your brain. It's not your mind and perception. It's how you feel about it that creates your reality. So we want to clear these negative emotions. For me, it was by understanding through a deep spiritual awakening the uselessness of the negative emotions. I found that like holding a grudge was something I was big on because I'm deeply sensitive and I'm deeply emotional. So when I used to get upset, it would affect me so deeply. My emotional response to things was so deep, and I would hold grudges because things would hurt me so deeply. And this deep grudge holding made me poisoned. I was poisoned based on the actions of someone else. I was poisoning myself based on how other people treated me. And we are all doing this to an extent. So to let go of the negative emotions is to let go of the value of the natural world. When we let go of the value of people, things, and places, and we see everything as a gift only serving our spiritual progress, when we see the world like that, we let go of the problematic energy and emotions that we're holding on to that stop us from experiencing true love and true joy and true fulfillment within our heart. And then, like I said, that's a bridge between spiritual and natural. So now we're going to start moving into the other chakras, which are of a spiritual nature. And I'm going to try and make them, like I say, as practical and applicable as possible. And your throat chakra is essentially your link to truth blocked by lie. Now, you can see how this isn't about the natural physical body. This is about the emotional body. This is about the spiritual side. Because as much as truth is an objective thing, how you feel would be truth, and that's not natural. It's not tangible. So when we get out of the tangible concept, we're getting into the spiritual. So your truth is blocked by dishonesty. For example, someone I don't like in my face, and I'm there like, hello, how are you? How have you been? Are you keeping well, brother? It's so good to see you. In actual fact, I'm thinking, I wish I didn't have to see your face. What you did to me still stings. Okay? That sense of truth, speaking truth, not holding on to things is really important. I actually did something that I'm not really happy about, but I had a discussion with my girlfriend about something that was bugging me, and I didn't really want this to ever be a thing. And I'd never really wanted to discuss it. This happened like 2 weeks ago because of unnecessary pain it would cause and unnecessary discomfort. But anyway, I ended up saying it after a long time of holding this in. I'm not going to get into the details of what it was, but I eventually let it all go, and I told her. And although I felt that discomfort of talking to her, which I knew I would, and the unnecessary pain that I was causing, I also felt liberated. I also felt a sense of freedom. It wasn't hiding this thing anymore. I hadn't done anything wrong, but just this concept I was holding on to was actually hurting me without me knowing. I wasn't expressing this truth. And when I did, I felt a sense of freedom. It was like an evolution of my energy. Moving up to the next one, which is your third eye chakra, which is linked to intuition, blocked by desire. When we speak about spiritual awakenings, there's a concept that came up, and it was something like this. They called the spiritual awakening the magic glasses. Now, there are 3 rules to the magic glasses. Once you put them on, you cannot take them off. And the second rule is, once you put them on and you see the world for what it is, you will never be able to see it for what you want it to be. You can only see it for what it is. So that's the second rule. And the third rule is you can't force anyone to wear the magic glasses. Now, these magic glasses being the spiritual awakening and seeing things through this perspective, the one I'm referring to out of the rules is once you see the world for what it is, you can never see it for what you want it to be. Intuition is when you don't have an attachment to outcome. When you don't have an attachment to the way you want things to be and you accept it for the way it is, this is where you free yourself. So when you sit there and you go, okay, I no longer have to see it this way. I don't wish it was a certain way. You'll start seeing things for the way it is because you are almost an observer, not an actor in your story. You can start to see through people's egos. And the Bible calls this the discerning spirit. But chakra-wise, it's your third eye. Your intuition, your knowing, your sense of knowing. Everyone has access to this. So if you want a certain outcome, when desire is the biggest poison for in terms of creating an illusion in your experience. So this third eye sees the truth and we block it. And it's caused by having our opinion of ourselves too high, like on a pedestal. That is what causes the problem. So it's to remove the value of ourselves. We are of no true value. We don't actually have any value. We're temporary. This human experience is going to end. Then we move on to the crown chakra. This is very spiritual. This is your connection to divine energy. Abraham Hicks calls it the vortex. We can call it an enlightened state. We can call it the awakened state. There's so many things you can call it, but I'll express what it feels like. It feels like the feeling of the most exciting thing you could ever do on your body. Kind of like when you go on a roller coaster and that pinnacle point of all that excitement, imagine that as a flowing experience, like your body actually feels energized. It feels like an electrical current flowing through you. You actually feel things on a heightened level. You see colors at a brighter level. And it's the observer state. And the Bible refers to it like this: it is easier to fit a camel through the eye of a needle than it is to enter the kingdom of heaven. This is the kingdom of heaven. This is the reference made by the Bible, the kingdom of heaven. Let's get rid of the meaning of the words and go to the feeling. It's a true feeling of absolute freedom, liberation, love, and wholeness, completeness. And this is blocked by any earthly attachment. So the way we get rid of that is by having an ego death. When you let go of the identity of this earthly experience and see that it has no real meaning and that the moment is all that's important, and we actually detach from these little spider webs that go into places we don't even see that are our ego, when we let go of that, we access pure cosmic energy, pure divine energy. And the best way to experience it is through a feeling. It feels electrifying. It feels like something you've never felt before. If any of you have ever played around with chemicals, by that I mean things like marijuana and other things, I don't want to say the word and that YouTube gets upset with the word. So it's that D word that people take stuff. And basically, if you've ever experienced any of that, it will give you an element of the feeling that pure cosmic energy gives you. You can access it through meditation sometimes when you really let go, because that is the deepest observer state. You're basically saying, my human has no purpose. That is accessing pure cosmic energy. Now, when we let go of the egotistical sides of things, those are the blocks I spoke about in all the 7 chakras, and we embrace the spiritual concept of all that I've said in this, about the spiritual understanding of the chakras, when we truly embrace that and truly let go of the blockages, you will experience a sense of replenishment of your energy. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Any questions you may have, any thoughts about this that you want to share that other people might need your medicine for, guys. Like, you might say it in a way that I couldn't, that they get to read this comment and it clicks for them. So please don't feel like you shouldn't be sharing. Any thought you have may just be the medicine that someone else needs. And who are we to hold the medicine for ourselves that we could give to someone to elevate their experience? So guys, if this video resonated with you and you feel that it meant something, make sure to hit the like button. It helps me greatly on the algorithm. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the comment section, on my subscriber list, and on the next video. Thanks for watching. Mad love and light.